Hi, I'm Adriana Ulrich with the Mom Bag Energy Podcast. I am so excited today for today's guest. This is actually my husband's cousin, so cousin Stacie. She is a stay-at-home mom extraordinaire, honestly. She has 4 beautiful, gorgeous children. She did spend some time at Boys Town, and she was, and I hate that it's past tense, but it's like, I get it, you got to step away from things, literally running the most fire parenting advice account there for a hot beat. And so I just thought she would be honestly the perfect guest because I want moms of all representation and just to give us her unique POV on motherhood.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So do you want to give us just like the ages of your kids? You don't have to give names. It's just up to you. But
Yeah,
just a little breakdown.
My oldest will turn 11 in a few weeks. And then I have a 5.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, and my baby turns 1 tomorrow.
Oh, no.
I know, I'm grieving it. I'm really sad.
No, totally. It is so like devastating. So thank you for coming and sharing this last moment with us. I guess one thing I did want to touch on before we really get started is Behringer is in sports and he's really felt like this calling to flag football. Is it flag or is it tackle?
It's like 7-on-7, which is like the new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cody's coaching.
My husband coaches. It's crazy. And he will often joke, like, if I'm like, hey, can you, like, put your phone down from, like, looking at plays and reviewing tape? And he's like, would Nick Saban's wife say that to him? I was like, well, when you're making the money Nick Saban's making, I'll stop nagging
We
you
can
about
renegotiate the contract. Yeah. Well, it's like, so Nick Saban supposedly eats like, I think like a Little Debbie sandwich every morning. So it's like, maybe we don't need to do everything Nick Saban does.
He shouldn't be our idol, right? Yeah.
Literally the next time I see Cody, I'm going to be like, hey, Nick Saban.
Yeah. But it is like that serious. Like the dads get like super serious about it. It's so crazy.
No, so that is probably a struggle for Joe right now because right now he's not coaching Barrett in baseball and he coached Jace, I think probably from 3rd grade up in baseball. And so he'll have very strong opinions about what is going on in Barrett's game. And I'm just facetious and I just like to egg it on. I'm like, you should probably take him in the parking lot and fight him. Like,
yeah.
like I just like to say the most like outlandish thing to just kind of remind him, like, let's bring it back down to base level. He's 7.
Yeah, he's not in the MLB right now, right? Oh, yeah.
Forever, unfortunately.
Right, yeah.
Like, as much as I love that he's doing it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, we're just live, laugh, loving through the sports mom experience.
It's like a lot because, and it's also hard on the flip side where you're like, other people take it so seriously. Like, my son's a quarterback and then my husband's the head coach. And so sometimes people on the sidelines say the most unhinged things and you're like, I'll fight you. Like, you're saying that about my husband and my 10-year-old. Like, are you kidding? You're talking about, like, a child. Yeah, so it is wild.
Yes.
Sports mom stuff is wild.
Yeah, because it can get pretty heated, like, in baseball, too. But I will say from Jace's time period playing, like, miniature tackle, and Jace is still playing football now, but I think in high school people kind of level out a little bit. Because I feel like there's a little bit more shame associated with it because you're going to see these other people again when you're playing at the high school level. But I feel like for some reason football does evoke some of the nastier comments, even from like, and it's really crazy.
Yeah, it's so crazy,
and I don't understand why. And I wish I could at least try to like intellectualize it.
Yeah,
because I'm like, what is happening right now?
I don't know. People are nuts. I've realized like the state of our world is so strange based on youth sports. It's like, why are so many people so invested? Like, you're invested in like, oh, I'm proud of my son for trying something new, for working hard. That's my investment. But other people's investment are like,
my kid is going to be in the NFL and it starts now.
Yeah. Or like, my son only got 3 catches. Okay, well, there's like 5 receivers and also your son drops balls all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but it's like the amount of messages like Cody will get after a game of like feedback about stuff. Our team this year is great, but in the years past it has been rough.
Crazy. So yeah. And I've been the parent guilty of like sending one of those not even sending one of those messages, just in the middle of a game, like stopping a coach. Because Barrett recently got diagnosed with anxiety and
poor guy.
I didn't know that before we signed him up. So now I'm kind of like trying to weigh it out and like see like, okay, how is this going to work? But he was outfield, and you kind of have to move the person in outfield based off the type of kid that's batting. And I could just see like him getting in his head, and they were just like yelling at him, and this guy just like was kind of getting frustrated that Barrett wasn't like understanding his direction well. So then of course Mama Bear comes out, and I like step in, and I'm like, hey, like you can't keep yelling at him like that. Like you're confusing him. Like I know you want to move him around, but you need to give him like 2 different spots to alternate to, and like he can't handle any more direction.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I like just went into this tangent, and I was like, this isn't a conversation.
Good for you.
This is just my observation.
Yeah. See, I think there's such a balance, and I think it's both are warranted. Like we've seen both sides, and I think being a parent and a coach shows you both sides. And but I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did.
Though there's just like a part of me that's like, crap, now he's gonna like take it out on my kid. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it is what it is, and I did what I felt like was right in the moment.
Yeah, no,
that's all I can do.
Yeah, that was looking out for your son's like mental emotional well-being, not. I think my son is like a 4-star quarterback that's being recruited by Alabama or Nebraska. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your son's 9, you know, so like, no, he's not. He's not. So let's calm down. Yeah.
Like,
so there's a balance. I don't think what you did was wrong at all. I validate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I guess we're going to kick it off strong with, what is a mom fail that still haunts you?
I mean, I could go funny. I could go dark. Like, what
depending
you want.
For.
Like, what mood do you want for this podcast? Probably my funny one is just like in kindergarten, Behringer, it was like COVID, so they had shut school down, and the teachers were bringing work for the students at their house. And so we were so excited. It was the first time we were seeing his kindergarten teacher again. And I opened the front door, and she like goes like this at me, and I'm like, she's like, here you go, here's your work, and like hands it to me, and like kind of like goes off. And I didn't even realize till I went back in the house, my shirt was from like an old bachelorette party, and it had like a curse word on it, and it said something about being drunk on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, she probably thinks like, what a trashy mom. And she's Amelia's kindergarten teacher. And so I'm like, tried to really like make that up over the years. Like, I'm actually a really appropriate mom.
I think you need to drop the like, what time I worked at Boys Town and I live like this.
Yeah, and I was like, and I drink recreationally. Like, I'm not a crazy person.
Yeah. No, I just have to think, honestly, I know that was a moment she was probably caught off guard. You could not have been the craziest mom she saw that day.
No,
you know
sure
what I'm
not.
saying? Like,
I'm
sure by the end of the day, that was like nothing.
Like, I was wearing a bra. So,
yeah.
like, I feel like that was a win. And like, you know, like I was good.
But I totally love that story because like those were crazy days.
Yeah. And I will not forget it. I will not forget it. Because her face is cemented in my brain. Like, yeah.
Like going, no, I don't even know how I kept it together because James and Emma were, what is it? Homeschooling, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what that was. They were
Mm-hmm.
homeschooling, and it's like, I am not qualified. I would like to think that I am the ilk of, I could teach children, but I'm not, like realistically. Yeah. And then I had a toddler and a baby, and then Joe was running a business. So it's like,
you're like, what else could we add to our life to make it crazier? Yeah, I had Behringer in kindergarten. Amelia was a baby, like less than a year old, and I was the director of operations for like a nonprofit.
I
and
remember
so we had
that
to, like, start
now.
Working from home, but I was like trying to manage. It was like
all
federal grants,
things.
you know.
Yes,
it was wild.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would not go back to that if we could.
Not to go too personal, but I just feel like sometimes there's this like mommy blogging culture and just everything we're getting like shouted to, like via TikTok, Instagram, everything, where it's like stay-at-home moms versus like working moms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're very much in tune to where it's like my journey has really fluctuated with what my family needs.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel guilty about that. But it's like I'm in a place where I can do it. So why am I not aligning myself with what my family needs? Like, I did not work the first 15 months that Landon was born because we were now a family of 5. Yeah. And so it's like, I did do our bookkeeping. Like, I was as bare bones as I could be for the business, to where it's like, I really wouldn't consider myself a working mom.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So just kind of talk to me about like your journey, because it's like, you were a working mom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then you've transitioned to a stay-at-home mom. So
yeah, I've had such a weird journey in motherhood. I mean, it's been almost 11 years. And when I first had my first baby, I was essentially working full time, but I was living where I was working. It's kind of a complicated job. And so my son was with me. He never went to daycare till he was almost 2. And then I sent him to daycare and worked like outside of the home full time until my daughter was born, my second was born, and I was really adamant that I wanted to be home with her, and we just like needed to set it up financially for our family where it worked. And it did, and I was thankful. Awesome. But there's always this like nagging feeling of like, what am I doing for my family? And it sucks because obviously you're doing a lot, right? Like
you're
like
doing everything.
Right, I'm literally handling our life, and you just go to work. I mean, not to minimize what Cody does, but it's like you go to work, and of course you're supporting our family financially, but almost everything else is on my shoulders. And I don't think people realize that. And I will say that is probably one of my bigger pet peeves about social media is this huge polarization between working moms and stay-at-home moms. And I've done it all. Like I have worked from home full time. I have stayed at home full time. I have worked outside the home full time. I have worked from home with small children at home and homeschooled. Like it's all hard. There's like literally not an option that isn't hard. There's pros and cons. Yes, right now I don't have to get up and shower. I can take my kids to school in my pajamas and start my day later. But also like I don't get a break from 6 a.m. until like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Whereas my husband like gets his drive. He gets a lunch break. Like he's meeting friends for lunch. You know, it's like I don't get that unless I set up childcare.
Yeah.
I have to go to the dentist, you know, next week. I have to find childcare.
Yeah.
Just to go to the dentist. You know, like I can't leave work for an hour. So it's one of those, it's a
give and take.
Yeah.
No, and you articulated that so beautifully, which is why you're here with me today. Because it is a struggle, and I find myself getting really frustrated too, because I feel like there's this trend on social media where it really glamorizes being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm not going to say that it's not beautiful and it doesn't come without its benefits, but almost like, and it is a luxury to be able to afford
it's a
to
privilege
do that.
For sure.
It is. But at the same time, it's almost made to seem like even more of a luxury. Like I think if you are a stay-at-home mom and all of your kids are in elementary school and you are getting to do the drop-off and go to Pilates.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those moms, I love that for you. Like, trust me. Like,
goals, right? Yeah.
Goals. But I think there is a difference between those two different stages. And it's like, it is a privilege, like, to get that time. Like, I will never regret that 15 months I spent with Landon or any of the time I've gotten to spend at home with my kids. But it is a lot of work, and it has never once been easy. And I think in a way it's triggering because it makes you reevaluate your own childhood and work through those dynamics.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy that now at 34, this last postpartum was like the first time I really learned and prioritized how to regulate my nervous system.
That's a big job. Yeah, it's a big job.
And then what I need to do that consistently, and the importance of prioritizing it so I can show up as my best self for all of my kids.
Yeah.
And in that process, you're sometimes made to feel like the bad guy because you're having to take time for yourself.
Yeah. It's like any time you take for yourself because you're home all day feels like selfish.
Yeah, like you're robbing.
Yeah, or like, well, you're already home all day. You already don't go to work. So why do you need to take extra time?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain to someone. Or I always think too about finances. Like anytime, you know, like we're good, but you know, like anytime my husband's like, oh, I don't know about this expense, like maybe we should cut that out. I'm immediately inside my head going, oh my gosh, like I'm not contributing to our family.
Yeah.
What can I do to make extra money? Or how can I help? Or like even spending money. You start to get, it's like this weird
dynamic because you feel guilty because you're not technically bringing in money.
Yeah.
Even though you are saving your family money
in
other ways, because it's hard because like that was kind of the crux of why I ended up like really leaning into becoming a stay-at-home mom when Leighton was born, because it was like at that point I was getting priced out of daycare.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just like it didn't make financial sense to continue to go back. So it's like technically you are, but it's just weird because it's like because you're not seeing the dollars hit your account from like a W-2 in your name.
Yeah.
You just don't feel like you're supposed to be spending any of the money. You're supposed to be taking any time for yourself. And it's like, I think it's a process to kind of work your way out of that. But no, that totally resonates.
Well, and I think too, feeling like you have to justify that to people outside your family is, oh my God, first off, crazy. Like we don't need to justify anything we spend our money on or what our life choices are to anyone. But you do feel sometimes feel that way. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to contribute financially. So I became a substitute teacher in my kid's school district.
Yeah.
And then I found out that like for that day, I made like under $200 for that whole day.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, hey, in my consulting business, in 1 hour, I make double that.
Yeah.
I was like, got it, never subbing again. You know, like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
You know, like, I just took all that time away.
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense.
No.
But other people see that like, oh, she quit subbing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, because it wasn't time management and financially, it didn't make sense. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's like the thing that does make me like angry, and it's a societal problem that like we're not going to fix, unfortunately,
Right.
by the end of this podcast. But it's like, I hate how much our teachers are getting paid. And
Yeah.
I like, it's just insane because it's like, to me in my head, and it's like, I dabbled in nonprofits. I don't have like the extensive experience you have, but it's like, it's very clear that like investing back into our youth is how we fix issues of poverty and the economy. I know, hot take.
Yeah.
But that's like the last place I feel like people are really wanting to spend their dollars.
Yeah.
And so it's just really wild to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we ever work around that. So sorry. That's
Yeah.
just a random
No, I mean,
anecdote.
like, if you're a teacher, send us your Amazon wish list. We will clear it.
Please. Okay. So what is your best, like the best piece of advice somebody gave you, or even just like your favorite piece of advice that somebody gave you?
It was not honestly that long ago that someone said this to me. I was kind of lamenting about a behavior that one of my kids had, and I was talking about the future and like what it could mean and all of the things, and I was so worried, and it was just like this kind of anxiety loop of what that could mean.
Yeah.
And they were like, stop assigning meaning to your child's future based on what you see now. Just stay in the present and deal with the present and know that like you're doing everything you can to set this child up for success. And I have had to repeat that to myself a lot, that like,
Yeah.
okay, my son is hitting. He's not going to be a psychopath someday, you know, or like,
Definitely.
you know, my daughter was worried about this
Definitely.
friend issue.
Yeah.
She's not going to be friendless
Yes.
or anxiety ridden the rest of her life necessarily, you know? So it's like, but as moms, we just worry and we start
Of
to
course.
catastrophize. But then when you
Yes.
catastrophize,
It
you
becomes
tend
a
to
habit.
Yeah, and you focus on it so much that you almost make it worse for your child. So
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think I've done the same exact thing. So that's such powerful advice. And I love that you're sharing that. It's just so hard when you're so focused on preparing your child for success in
Yeah.
the future to like, and you don't mean to, but it's like you interpret any flaw and you're like, oh my gosh, is this something that's going to balloon out of
Yeah.
control if I don't nip it in the butt? And
Yeah.
so it's so hard to find that balance of just like letting things be, but also like, you're not disciplining your child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Yeah.
still keeping it a watchful eye. So I definitely love that.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite thing to share with new moms?
Oh man. Everything is temporary. Like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So all the good,
Yeah.
like the newborn on your chest and the cute little things your toddler says, it's temporary. So like soak that up. And then the hard stuff like potty training and not sleeping and the back talk, it's temporary. So, you know, soak up what's good and remember that there's a lot of moms before you that have gotten through where you're at. So
Absolutely.
don't get too down on yourself.
No, I love that. That's like some of my advice too. It's like
Yeah.
if you're in a really, when I feel like I see people in the trenches, do you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And they're
Yeah.
asking for advice. It's just really like, A, listening, but then B, just like reminding them like, this is short lived.
Yeah.
Like I'm not invalidating that this isn't super hard, but just remember like
Yeah.
there is a light at the end of the tunnel
Yes.
and this will be like a drop in the bucket. Like,
Which is why I think that moms of multiple kids are more relaxed because they've done it. So first time moms are they've never been on the other side of your kid sleeping through the night. You know, and
Yeah.
you're like, it will happen.
Yeah.
You'll get there, I promise.
Yeah.
But like now, you know, 4 kids in, I'm like, okay, this is temporary. We'll get there.
no, totally. No, because I joke that Landon is a free range chicken. Like that is
I have one of those.
like she is being fed organic and
Yeah.
I keep a watchful eye over her, but like I am not helicoptering or like any of those things
Yes.
anymore.
No. Mm-mm.
What is a life hack that you swear by or change your life? And I mean, we can even skip because we've talked a bunch.
No, I mean, I think it's like common. People have said this a lot, but I think if you're having a bad day or your kids are, get them outside or go in the water. And I think
Absolutely.
it's like amazing how quickly those can turn moods around. So we've done a lot of like midday baths, and like we've had days where we went on 4 walks, you know, or like we went to the park and then we went here and then we went there, you know, even for yourself. Like I need a shower so that I can be like a better mother for you today.
No, totally.
So, yeah.
Totally. And I've seen your Instagram stories with the walk, so I know you're doing it.
Yeah. Trying.
If someone is in the trenches right now, what would you say to them?
I think I'd repeat that everything's temporary.
Yeah.
So try to remember that. Look ahead at moms you respect, and they are like moms that are ahead of you in life a little bit, and realize like they've made it.
Totally.
And outsource as much as you can. If you have the resources, put your laundry on your stoop and let someone else do it. You know, or like
shout out Poplin.
Yeah. That was like, that saved me after my 3rd baby was born.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do it forever, but for a couple months I was drowning in laundry, and someone's like, put it on your porch in a trash bag and call this number. I'm like, okay.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes you feel like you're admitting defeat by like asking for help, and it's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes no, you just need help, and
it's okay. Yeah. Outsource your life.
Yeah. No, but it's funny that you talk about the moms like a little bit further down the road, because I think that's even just like a life hack we don't necessarily realize, I think, until we're like a little bit older, because I think it's even like marriages that are further down the road. Do you know what I'm saying? Like my favorite neighbor lives across the street and they've been married for 50 years. I'm probably butchering it. Shout out Carol and the Beavers. And they're just like one of my favorite couples to like look to. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like everything we've gone through, they've done. And then also one of our sitters, her mom, we've become pretty good friends. And it's great to see a mom who's like, 2 of her kids are already out of the house.
Yeah.
And one of them is at home. And just to see her like, yes, like each kid has like struggles, and because like her middle child like was trying to find a career path, like, and they knew it wasn't college. You know what I'm saying? But just to see them like navigate that as a family, and now he's like going to like plumber. Yeah. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's awesome just to know like, hey, if one of my kids flounders, like, it's gonna be fine. And not that he floundered, but you know what I'm saying? It's just it's nice.
Or struggles to find their way. Yeah.
It's so awesome and it's so nice. Okay, so how do you balance motherhood and regular life? And I'm really asking you this because it's like, I feel like you still have your core friends from high school. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is awesome. So it's like, how do you balance having like a social life, date nights with Cody? If like, do you know what I mean? It's like, what is your take on trying to find like that rhythm for yourself?
That's like the $1 million question for every person, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a magic formula. I think you have to do what works for your family. So, and this is, again, let me get on my soapbox for a second. I think social media has like glamorized so much or made everything seem simple. And not everyone's circumstances are the same. So it's like, I'm lucky enough that my parents are in town, so I can call on them to babysit if I need to. But I also, that's not a resource I want to take advantage of all the time. So
absolutely.
I think like let go of the expectations that others set out. Like, you should be on a date night once a week. Okay, well, that's not realistic for me. We have football and ballet and baseball and working full time, and you know what I mean? Like, that's not realistic.
For sure. Because we have had some family members kind of harp on Joe for not taking like enough time for himself. And it's like, well, we have 5 kids. Each child is in a sport. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't really get to take, I don't have that luxury. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, now we've implemented each of us taking like one night off to just like go do a hobby or like something we enjoy. But it's like, there are some weeks where it's like the schedule doesn't allow for that. And so sometimes I do think that like, oh yeah, you're supposed to be on a date night once a week. This is going to sound terrible. I think Joe and I went on our first date. It was a Tuesday night. And it was probably our first one in like 4 or 5 months. And it's like, but we're fine with like, do you know what I mean? Like,
if it works, then there's nothing to change.
It's like that's not the long-term goal, is to go on 4 date nights a year, but it's like for that 4 or 5 months, that's just what we had, and that's what we have to make work, you know?
Cody's always has a good perspective too. He's like, it's the same. It's temporary. Like, it's not going to be forever that we have 4 kids, 11 and under. It's not going to be forever that we have these sports every night. But I will say, one of the things that we do often is like, we focus on after bedtime. So like after everybody's down for the night,
that's awesome.
You know, go meet a friend for a drink. Or, I mean, like me and my friends, it's like, hey, I have to go to Target. Me too. Let's walk around and get a Starbucks and walk around for an hour at Target.
That's awesome.
So it's It's like, not everything's a girl's trip to Dominican.
Bora Bora.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I can't. That's not realistic for my life.
By Tarte.
Yeah. What, can you like get me on one of those? Like, that'd be great. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not real life. But that's what you see on social
Exactly.
media. It's like, girls trip. And it's like, that's not realistic for me right now. But what is realistic is
people bringing their babies to Coachella.
Right. That is true. That's people are doing that. I mean,
and I love that journey for them that they're able to do that, and that works for me. But that is my nightmare. That is my actual nightmare. Like,
no, thank you. No, thank you. I would rather just have a hotel here in Omaha.
Yeah, where I didn't have to
baby
travel very far. You know what I'm saying? And
just
enjoy some like room service or some situation, and the kids play in the pool.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so this is the last question, and it's really open-ended. Is there anything you want to talk about? And this really is like your soapbox moment to really just say anything or get anything or even throw a question my way. It's really just your moment to do whatever you want. Sorry, I threw that on you.
No.
So.
I mean, like, what made you want to start this podcast?
So I feel like there's been a really big cultural shift since my stepkids were in school where I don't feel like there's a safe space on the internet to talk about motherhood. I feel like when you voice your opinions, you get attacked.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like there's this like working mom versus stay-at-home mom divide, breastfed versus bottle fed. And I just feel like so much is getting so divisive. Yeah. And also I just feel like everything is just getting so glamorized with social media. We talk about the negative effects of social media for the younger generations, but no one has really stopped to check on us millennial moms to be like, hey, how is your social media intake affecting you and your mental health? Because it is very easy to get sucked into what everybody else is posting, which is the highlight reel, and then think lesser of your life. And it's like, we're not supposed to know what Betty Sue from high school or middle school or elementary school is like doing with her kids and her husband. Do you know what I'm saying?
Or
like
a stranger on the internet 1,000 miles away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like we're not supposed to really be digesting people's like Hermes unboxings. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
that doesn't serve me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we really, as moms, this is probably like a little bit of my soapbox. I think we should be watching our social media like intake and what we're watching and being mindful of that, because I don't think it's all positive, and we really should be just absorbing content that is like positive for us. Which is why I really did love your parenting channel. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And if you ever feel it on your heart to take it up again,
maybe I will, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think you should, but it's like, I get it. It has to be like the right season, the right moment. You know what I'm saying? But I just think we need more positive content.
Well, I think, I agree. So I'm glad that you're having like this like variety of moms on who have different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that, if you want to give me an open-ended mic here, one thing that I think really is a hard thing for our generation is like, not everything is for us. And like, I'm a part of a Momco group. Shout out Momco International. But like, I'm part of a Momco group. I'm going to be the coordinator this upcoming year.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Thank you. And so like, I'm excited, but that's one thing I try to constantly drive home to the moms I work with is like, we might have a speaker on stage who's talking about like natural living and getting chemicals out of your house and all the things. But if like you literally can't get out of bed because you have postpartum depression, or if like your kids are, you're in the middle of like an autism, evaluation. Yeah. Don't worry about your
getting
candles,
the chemicals out of your house.
Like, I don't care. Like, just not everything is for you all the time.
Yes.
And so I think that it's really important for moms to see, like we had a homeschooling mom speak, and she was talking about like the dangers of public school. And I was like, hey, not all of us have
the bandwidth, the privilege, the resources, the village, the
to
space.
Do that.
Yeah.
So, but that's what works for you.
And
but
we love that for
me.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's like, I can't. No. And I think that is my point of this entire podcast, is that not everything is for us, but like we should be a little bit more for each other and celebrating when a mom finds something that works for her that maybe isn't in line with like what works for us.
Yeah. Like, I'm so happy that was a conviction on your heart to go and say, I want to get rid of all of these chemicals in my house, or I really feel called to homeschool. I don't. So don't throw all that content, social media content in my face saying that like I'm
a terrible
my kids
person.
or I'm indoctrinating them because I send them to public school. Like it's like, come on. So that's good for you. Yeah. It doesn't have to be for me.
No.
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
well,
great.
Again, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
and I'm going to
inviting
give
me.
your mom a shout out. Thank you, Aunt Lois, for making this all possible. Because I feel like she's probably going to listen. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, she did ask. She's like, where do I listen to this? I'm like, well, it's not live. Like, it's not happening now.
I love it. Okay, well, thank you.
Yes.